My name is Blake Horton. I'm the senior curriculum developer.
Awesome. And Blake, you and I met in Detroit at FANUC at the Robotics Next Generation Manufacturing Conference, and we got to kick it a little bit. And you got to tell me a little bit about your path into the industry. Are you down to share that with the people watching?
Yeah, it's funny because I didn't start a typical way. I actually started making video games.
Yeah.
So I started basically. I thought growing up that I was going to be an artist. I
Okay.
was going to create interactive entertainment for people. I value creating experiences for people, getting them psyched, getting them excited about something. And it turns out that the math, the geometry, and all that stuff leads really right into machining.
Yes.
My dad hooked me up with a job as a deburr tech, just entry level, and I just took off because
So let me stop you there too, because typically a deburr tech for people that are young, that's a way out of the door. I'm saying you're sitting there, you're deburring parts, or maybe if you're lucky, maybe you can write a program so a machine can deburr the parts, but it's kind of dangerous. If you don't have a feel for what you're doing, you can mess up a part, right? Can you tell me a little bit about that first job and what made you stay? What made you say, I can do this for as long as I need to get to that next level?
so in the background, I'm making video games at home for fun, doing my thing. And then one day I had a chance to sit next to a programmer doing master.
Uh-huh.
And he's over there doing his thing. I'm sitting over his shoulder, getting real curious. And he's like, "Hey, get over here."
Yeah.
Sits me behind him, and we went through the whole process, A to B. And from then on, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is just what I'm doing now." But like,
On another scale, yeah.
so
I tell people that all the time. When I first got in the game, I saw the programming room. First, it was like the money. Like all programmers are driving really cool cars. They're doing some cool stuff. But then it was climate control, like I'm in a room with computers and it's like cool in there. And I'm out here by this machine, which I love machining. Like, don't let me, just in my heart, I was like, okay, this is my North Star. Like, if I can make it into there, then I've made it. Cause I still get to be in here. I still get to do cool stuff. I tell kids a lot of times, like, I was trying to come in, and it sounds kind of similar. There's a pathway that you had to like cut your teeth, so to speak, in a divert tech, maybe a certain amount of years at a certain machine. Yeah, and you have to prove like, okay, I can program or I can change some programs around. I can, do some stuff. A lot of that is what we're already doing, in 3D design, Adobe, and things like that. Can you tell me how the skills that you were building help translate and, propel you?
Computer skills are a big deal. They weren't exactly at the time. I mean, a lot of things were still manual. I'm still taking full size drawings and scaling them myself. Computers weren't a big part of it, but they were becoming a big part of it.
Okay, yeah.
The fact that I knew that and I was able to, it was sort of like the owner of the shop realized that he had what he already needed right there in front of him. He just kind of had to direct it towards the right thing.
Yeah.
They gave me opportunities to try things out, and I messed things up a lot.
Yeah.
And like 5 years, 6 years later, I'm getting them right all the time. And then at that point, I'm a lead. And then at that point, I'm learning new machines and I'm stepping up and up and up. So,
Okay, so, pick up from there real quick. So, um, sounds like having a company that knew you outside of your current technical skills that said, okay, he might not be like the perfect candidate right now on paper, but we can get him there. And they had some foresight too to say, all right, there's something that's gonna help our business and he's interested in it, and we can tell, let's maybe help push him in that direction, or you just at least into him in a way that he feels supported and safe going and doing it. Is that right?
but also, it's important to know that the first shop I started at was a mom and pop shop, right?
Okay.
My programmer is not in a room with climate control, and he doesn't drive a nice car.
He's at the machine,
He
right?
rides a bike.
Yeah, okay, okay.
So everybody on every level was a real person.
Yes.
There was a lot of hierarchy. There was opportunity. It was kind of like, where do you want to head and what do you want to do? Who are you going to bug? And
Yeah.
opportunity presented itself. Yeah.
So I love that because I travel to the United States. Obviously, we've seen each other now. This is the second state, and I help these companies get in the game as far as getting more people in the door, right? And a lot of times, I hear from mom and pop shops, and they're like, "Yo, we can't compete with the big manufacturers, right? They're going to take all the people. And I'm like, no, you actually have a competitive advantage that they don't have, where a person is just a number, but you take a person here and you really get to know them. You really get to know what drives them, what motivates them. You can get way more out of that person than they would ever get at that place.
I think too that in those situations, money's the consequence. It's not the goal, right? So
Yeah.
money is what you get by doing the thing you love
Yes.
in those environments, and that was what I like. I'm an artist, so I resonate with that. The bigger it gets, the more I become a number, the less I can kind of play that game. At some point, I even dipped out and went and built my own shop because I was like, that's the way that this has to go.
And that's really cool that one of the things that we can do in this field, right? So getting these skills doesn't mean you're just going to have a job at some place that sucks every day. You've got the opportunity to really grow, learn more, and then, like you said, go out into your own. How are you taking some of these lessons and some of these life skills and some of these wins that you were finding in the field, like the mentorship, like, knowing yourself enough to say these big type of shops aren't for me, knowing who you are? How are you taking these lessons that you learned and then sewing them back into people that are coming through this program?
I think that might be why I like this so much, is because there's so much opportunity to. It's not just give back. Giving back's kind of one part of it, but it's also like personally, I have a desire to transfer knowledge. I have a desire to share what I learned. It's exciting. It's not just something I do; it's something I love, right?
Mhm.
So I want to give that to somebody. I think that's what I value most out of this, is the opportunity to kind of give that excitement, that juice that got me where I'm going. I don't really care where people end up, right?
Yeah,
That's not my
yeah,
concern. That's their concern.
yeah.
I'm concerned with just getting them excited about the possibilities.
Yeah. And do you think that first programming mentor being the example kind of planted that in you and made that?
My connections are what got me where I'm at. So like the people I met along the way are how I got where I'm going.
Okay.
Even to this day, those people, my old programmer guy, Mike Pell, still checks out my social media.
Yeah, okay. Well, shout out to Mike, because we're gonna tag you're gonna see this.
Going way back, it never quits.
Yeah.
I got opportunities through people I met to get here, and every opportunity going back, it was through somebody.
Well, real quick, let's talk about two things. Skills USA,
Okay.
Washington, technical chair. That's amazing. How did you go from in this job? Like, how did you go from industry, filling things out, getting your skills, learning all these different things, entrepreneurship, starting a shop, doing that thing, and then saying, hey, my true thing is I want to go get, like, I want to be here helping this next generation or just people that don't know about this?
So things like the construction trade, they had it already figured out. They've got people coming in behind where people are going.
Mhm.
Machining, I noticed though, about 20 years goes by, and there's nobody coming in behind me.
Yeah.
Even behind me when I first started, I didn't see nobody.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, my mentors are aged out, and now there's nobody. And so I think what really drives me is the fact that everybody needs this in order for it to be, and for it to disappear just feels so disheartening. It feels like the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
not letting that happen, giving new people the opportunity to get in here and keeping this going. That's the real motivator. I don't want this to die.
Yes. It's the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why do you think that is? Like, why do you think that in construction, developing your bench and putting a journeyman with an apprentice, like, it's nature? But here in machining, this has produced so much in the small time that it's been here. But why has it only been a thing for 6 years? We've been talking about this for 20 years.
When I was 19 and I stepped into the industry, I stepped up to a machine for the first time.
Right.
I
Yeah.
didn't even know what it was. I
Yeah.
didn't know what it did. I didn't know nothing about it. How is it that I made it all the way through all my high school years
Right.
and I crashed into it?
Yes.
Well, that's why nobody came behind me, is because not everybody's going to crash into it. So,
Mhm.
yeah. My dad gave me the opportunity.
How do we change that?
Well, this the visibility is a big part of it. I noticed a lot of people come through here, and only half of them are really interested. The other half, though, are so surprised they didn't know about this, and so
Yeah.
exciting. So it's getting people in front of it. I think getting them to touch it too. I noticed there's a big difference between talking to somebody about what it can do and having them step up and hit
And get some wins, right? Well, Blake, man, I appreciate your time. We can sit here for the next hour, but we don't have an hour. I need you to go get to where you need to get to. I need to get somewhere. But we might be having a round two Thank you so much, my dog. Appreciate the work you're doing too. Thank you for being here for these people, man. All right. Thank you, O.